Hello, sweet friend. My name is Micah, and in this video, I would like to share with you my January pages in my Hobonichi Cousin. She is starting to get fluffy, and she now makes squishy sounds. If I squish her, which is very satisfying, I don't know, that's probably going to also turn into something a little bit annoying, potentially, over the next couple months, but for now, it is satisfying. And yeah, as a general note, I stuck with this book throughout January, and taking into account that I stuck with the Hobonichi Cousin last year during December, this marks 2 months consistently in one book, which is fantastic given how much I jumped around last year. So we're doing great. We're doing great. I am going to skip over the monthlies because I ended up using them for something a little bit more personal that I'm not going to share. But let's see about the weeklies. The weeklies are on and off, to be honest. And that's a little sad because when I do stick with them, I do quite like how I am able to capture an overview of the week, and I like the way I can decorate them. I don't know, it's just, for some reason, there's something really fun about the narrow columns and then sprinkling some stickers throughout and putting in some photos. This is a photo of my niece. I just covered her face. Here we have a photo of our neighborhood with all the snow that we got that week. But then, yeah, sometimes I also put in some doodles, just really simple ones. So yeah, I quite like that. However, sometimes I kind of forget that they are there, like the weeklies are there, which is odd because obviously I fill in the dailies. You would think that I would remember that there are also weeklies in the front. And then the thing is that I want to use these to really do step-by-step or play-by-play of the day, and because I tend to forget those little details, but then if I don't remember to do it for a couple days, it's hard to go back, and so yeah, I'm losing the thing that I want to keep these weeklies for, so that's a little bit of a bummer. So, you know, I keep trying. Here, for example, I did an ink swatching video, so I just used the empty space to see what the inks look like on Tomoe River paper, or specifically this year's Hobonichi Tomoe River paper. So, you know, so I keep going at it. This week looks pretty good. So today is Friday, so of course the weekend is still empty, but yeah, so far so good. So I'm not giving up hope just yet. I am gonna try and stick with it. But yeah, let's see about the dailies, because they are definitely all filled in. So we have this January overview page, which for the longest time was empty except for the little decorations with the cats and the title. And then somebody on Instagram had shared this poem by Mary Oliver called Wild Geese. And I thought that was a fantastic poem to start out the year with, or start January with, and so I wrote it down. And I do think I want to try and see how I feel about doing that every month, just finding a poem that sort of reflects on what I think the month is going to be like, or that just sort of speaks to me. And I think that's a great way to just, or a great excuse almost, to read poems, to copy them, which is always nice. It's just a fun way to decorate this opening page, and so I'm gonna do that. Yeah, really fun. And then, yeah, the January 1st page, mostly dedicated to having launched the printable collection for that month. If you're new here, I'm an illustrator, and every month I create cat-themed journal printables. So I have a little overview picture there and wrote about the collection. I really like keeping track of my work that way and reflecting on what I've been up to and chronicling what I've created. So yeah, that's why that is there. And then this page, and then I think the next double page spread, yes. Those were also part of a Journal With Me video where I was trying out watercolor in this notebook for the first time. Since the paper is so different this year, I was a little hesitant, but it worked out okay. I think watercolor seems to be more consistent in the terms of how it reacts to the paper than markers are. So there's that. But yeah, really, really fun. Especially like this page. It was the 6th-year wedding anniversary of me and my husband. So we got some sweet treats. Yeah, quite like how this page turned out. And then we got hit by the winter storm Blair and got a lot of snow, a lot of ice. We lost power and therefore lost heating. But yeah, I mean, we were safe and we were able to keep warm, so it wasn't much of a problem there. But yeah, really like how this sweet bird in the tree turned out. I don't know if you can see, yeah, right there, the snow. Really, really cute. So yeah, that was that. And then my niece turned 2. So precious, and I included a little picture of the book that that we sent her for her birthday, to include that. I love reading books with her. And then in the January collection, I had also included some journal prompts, just to help people get started with their new journals if they don't know what to journal about. And so this was my response to one of those journal prompts. This is 5 things I'm curious to learn more about in 2025. And I did a little Cat Collage Club member exclusive video in doing these doodles. So yeah, really, really fun. I would like to see when the year is over if these things came true. Like if I made them happen. It's not like there needs to be any divine intervention there. It's just me actually pursuing that. And then yeah, this is another spread that I really adore. Just kind of really simple in the sense that we have a little bit of washi tape here and the rest is just writing and drawings, and just a really cohesive color palette that just happened to work out. And yeah, I really enjoyed the simplicity of this. As you will see, there's quite a few recipes in this month's pages. I just really have been enjoying trying new things. And so these were cookie dough bars. Maybe I can link the recipe in the description if you want to check that out, because I've made them twice now in 1 month and they're so delicious. And yeah, they're just made with like almond flour, maple syrup, vanilla syrup, chocolate chips, and cashew butter, of all things. And yeah, they turn out amazing. They're so yummy and they're filling because of the cashew butter and the almond flour. So yeah, really, really cool. And then this page was also inspired by one of the journal prompts I had shared. And that was sort of the view out of a window. And this is the view, or was the view, out of my office window, which is actually to the right here. And our backyard isn't super spectacular. It's just a little bit of a hill or a knoll that goes up to the neighbor's fence. And then there's another piece of fence to our other neighbors to our right, which only goes 1 unit. And yeah, it's not very spectacular. However, with the winter light just hitting it in this way and warming up the tree branches, it looked quite pretty. And so I just tried to capture the mood of that. And then also I was able to layer, or I played around with layering quite a few watercolors because I wanted to, again, just see what the limits were of this paper, and it did quite well. I mean, it didn't bleed through. I don't think it hurt the paper. Like, it didn't rip. It didn't peel off here. I mean, I can definitely sense that this is probably the maximum that you could do with this paper, but you know, it does hold up. And then if you're able to tell here, the marker though came through from this side. So yeah, again, markers are a little bit more of a question mark. And this is the kind of stuff that, you know, it's not a deal breaker, but because this page is such a simple design, such a serene layout, it is a little bit of an eyesore that then you get that brown nondescript show through there. So yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer, but I decided to just make do. And that is not to say that I think it is, how do I say? So, of course, these books are expensive. So, do I think that a $60 book should do this? No, I do not. But I decided for myself that I can live with this, and I'd rather use the book that I spent $60 for, even though it isn't perfect, and just sort of quote-unquote see it through. But yeah, if I'd known that beforehand, I might not have gotten this, and I might consider getting a different journal next year. But for now, I'm sticking with this. So yeah, again, a new recipe. This was a it had peanut butter in it, but it's a peanut miso cucumber sandwich. And again, just drew a couple of the ingredients and then included a cat eating sandwich. Yeah, that one was quite interesting in terms of the flavor combinations, like, you know, peanut with cucumber, miso. Yeah, quite interesting, but I don't think I'm gonna make that again. And then here, January 11th, I don't think a lot happened that day, so I had been reading through a couple quotes by Tove Jansson, who was the illustrator of the Moomins, and she was a painter and a writer. And there's something about the way she writes that is very lyrical or poetic almost. And so, yeah, I was having a good time reading through some of her quotes, and then decided to include some here, and included an illustration of hers, of Snufkin there, and then did some watercolor swatches to fill out the page. Just, yeah, just a little creative playtime, which is fun. And then, yeah, here again, one of the journal prompts, I had made these little cards. I think this is the first time I actually included the actual prompt card, but this one was, what's the most recent thing you've learned, no matter how small? And so I included some information about Orson Scott Card's mice quotient. It's something involving storytelling and how a different way of categorizing stories rather than going by the traditional bookstore genres. He describes these 4 factors: milieu, idea, character, and event. So mice. So yeah, just wrote that out. So almost like a little bit like a commonplace entry there. And then this is, I quite like this drawing. I actually included that in February's Collage Club printables. I redrew it on different paper, but I am someone who puts off getting, say, a doctor's appointment if I have to call them. I do not like making appointments by phone, but I just have to see it through, and so that made me kind of think of these cute little mice that would be helping me finally calling. So yeah, just kind of, I don't know why, considering cats to be these like small, almost like elves, interacting with objects that all of a sudden seem bigger, why that is so cute and whimsical, but it is. So yeah, that's that. Oh, here I just did a little sequential story, just capturing a moment. I'm someone who never sits straight. I always sit in the weirdest positions. I also love to sit on the floor or on the ground. And so my legs fall asleep a lot. But this moment here, I didn't notice that my foot had fallen asleep. So when I stood up, I put like my entire weight on the foot, thinking I had, you know, straightened out my foot to be able to stand up. But I hadn't, and so I put my entire weight on my foot that was like bent over on itself. And my foot hurt for like a day. That was so, I don't know. Yeah, it was so silly, but yeah. That's captured here. And then yeah, just an errand day. And when I drove home from the errands, there was just this lovely lighting all over town and with the snow. And then there were actually wild geese that flew over some of the houses, which was both beautiful and then also having, you know, written out the wild geese poem that was just, I don't know, it was kind of lovely. But yeah, I did 2 ink swatches, like swaps, not swatches. Well, I did also a lot of ink swatches, but I swapped inks with 2 people this month, and that was really, really fun. I was able to swap inks with Chris from Ella Nym here on YouTube, which was lovely. And then I also connected with Jannah, or Jannah. I'm sorry, I didn't ask you how you say your name. She also has a YouTube channel, which I'll link, and we connected through Seemownay's Discord server. If you know Seemownay, she also does a lot of videos on fountain pens and inks, and she has a Discord server, and it's if you're interested in fountain pens and things like that, do check that out, because there's some lovely, lovely folks on there all just chatting about fountain pens and journals and things like that. So yeah, that was really fun. So I was sending out some ink samples that day. And then, yeah, January was a hard month. I think it was a hard month for a lot of people. It also seemed like to take forever, didn't it? Unfortunately, my family dog passed away, and it passed away quite suddenly, quite unexpectedly. And so, yeah, I dedicated these 2 pages to her. Just included some photos. I obviously have tons and tons and tons of photos of her, but I yeah, just decided on these few here. It's interesting, I don't have quite a lot of photos with me and her, so if you have a pet, or also I'm saying this to myself to remind myself, if I'm gonna have a pet again, just to take photos with your pets, not just off your pet. Yeah, she was a really special dog to all of us, but yeah, I just wrote or started a list of things that I'm in particular gonna miss about this dog, and sort of her personality and the things that she did, and maybe I'll think of some more things and I can add them here, but yeah, just a little remembrance spread right there. And then, so yeah, the Saturday, that was the day after she passed, wasn't really feeling in the mood to write anything or put any words to my emotions. And so I ended up just doing a lot of watercolor mixes and swatching and playing around with colors. And so that also fit, again, one of the prompts, and that was, what's a small comfort that helped you today? So yeah, watercolor swatching definitely was comforting that day. Yeah. Then here we have a fun page about Pop Mart figurines. This cutie right here has been on quite a few of my videos, or they pop up on some of my photos as well. And this is Nyota. At least I'm assuming that, because that's what the series is called. So this was the first series of blind boxes. This was Nyota's Fluffy Life. And they just came out, Pop Mart just came out with a second series called Growing Up Your Own Way. And oh my goodness, the designs are so charming. They're so precious. And yeah, I wrote in this journal entry too, I am quite amazed at how a designer can take something that abstract, this idea of childhood and growing up and making sense of the world, and turn it into 3D figurines that are cute to look at. I don't know if you're gonna, yeah, this doesn't come up quite well on the video there, but I'll leave a link. Just be mindful that you may end up putting some in your cart, so please don't click on it if you don't intend to start collecting these. But yeah, oh my goodness, they're so cute. And this was quite interesting to write out because it made me also reflect on what I think my personal strengths as an artist or as an illustrator are, and I don't think I would be excelling at this kind of a prompt. I just so appreciate the way that childhood is being depicted and made into these little figurines that are nice as a 3D object, but then if you think about it some more, it just, I don't know, they seem very, I think the word I used in the journal entry is interpretive. I think I'm more of a scenic illustrator. So for example, this is again one of the Cat Collage Club printables. I do more like this, just very straight up scene, this is what's happening. And that's fine. It's just, yeah, just a very interesting, I didn't expect journaling about an object or these objects to kind of reveal something more about my own aesthetics so much. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. And another recipe, this one, oh my goodness, that was so delicious. This was from a cookbook, and quite something that maybe 2 years ago I wouldn't have really cooked because it looked really complicated, even though it ended up not being, because you put fish and some vegetables in this kind of little wrapper in parchment paper, and then it goes into the oven, and the flavors end up just really melting together, and it looks so special, and it tasted really special too, really refined in a way, but yeah, kind of fun. And this is all just markers, so Tombow markers and Ecoline brush pens, or Ecoline brush pens, I'm not sure, but yeah, that was really good. I'm probably gonna make that again. And then this was the day I got the ink swap from Chris. Chris had so kindly sent me samples from the Diamine ink vent, and yeah, I'm so excited to try these out. The Wilted Rose you'll see coming up, because that I've been writing with that quite a bit, and she was so very kind and had included all these stickers. It was just such a wonderful, happy mail. And Ella, I was gonna say Ella because her channel name is Ella Nym, but Chris is just a sweet and kind and generous person. So yeah, that was really special. Here I wrote out some lyrics from the Dave Matthews Band. I am pretty unfamiliar with the band. When I was a teenager and growing up and everything, I lived in Germany, and I don't think they were really big in Europe, or are really big in Europe. I might be mistaken, maybe it's just me living under a music rock. But yeah, so I'm pretty new, and so yeah, my husband introduced me to a couple of their songs, and yeah, these lyrics really spoke to me. And I thought I could fit the whole song on this one page, because when you look at lyrics online, they're always in this very narrow column, and it looks so that there's not a lot of text. But then once I wrote it out, I couldn't quite fit everything. So there's that. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, and then, yeah, this was the most decorated doctor's office I have ever been to. It was just a yearly checkup, and yeah, they were decked out. Some of these elements weren't actually in the room. They were also in the like entryway and stuff like that. But I took a little bit of a creative license to move some things around to be able to kind of get the vibe across. I also didn't take any pictures, of course, in the doctor's office. That would be weird. So yeah, this is sort of a, would you call that an amalgam of impressions in that doctor's office? And also because it was the first time I ever went to an American doctor. That was the first time I got to wear one of those hospital gowns. So I can cross that off of my American experience, because in Germany you don't wear those. So yeah, there's that. And then yeah, just doing a currently inked overview of the fountain pens I've inked. Quite fun, just lots of writing on this page, just thinking about doing more of my illustrations on paper because of wrist pain and things like that. And this is the Diamine Wilted Rose, and I think it's such a blushy color that's really light yet legible, so that's really fun. I'm quite enjoying that. And then this is where my second ink swap came in from Jannah. And Jannah also included stickers. Actually, I have them right here because I want to show you. She has an Etsy store where she makes these like inky icons, and she has these fountain pen nibs, really cool. And then she has this to label ink vials. And then where are her cats? Right here. She has these cute kitties. So I'll leave her Etsy store linked below if you're in the mood for some fun stickers all around, all sort of like themed around inks as well, and fountain pens. So yeah, this is very exciting. These inks are by a company called Birmingham Pen Company that I have actually never tried before, and they don't sell samples of their inks, so you have to commit to the full bottle, and so this is quite exciting. And their fountain pen inks are mixable, and Jannah has done amazing sort of ink charts where she mixed some of these, and so I'm very excited about that. She came up with some amazing mixes there, so that's quite fun. This is a big postcard that I got from a art supply store that I ordered some new watercolor paper from. Yeah, so I thought that was quite pretty with all these like different art supplies. So I mean, it's quite thick cardstock, but I didn't know where else to put it, so in the journal it went. And then yeah, I've been not a good plant mom, so all of our plants looked a little wilted, and quite a few of them had brown leaves. I think I underestimated what the heating during the cold months would do in terms of drying out the soil and drying out the leaves. But you know, it's half as bad because I drew myself as a cute cat, so. Oh yeah, this is an entry about a dream that I had, and I think this was the first time I ever dreamed about an object, and I so wished it was real. I dreamed about the most exquisite dolls, cat dolls that were made out of mohair and had all these like exquisite outfits made out of velour and like really intricate trims and embroidered details, and they came as a set with these cute beds and yeah, just more outfit pieces. And yeah, I don't know, I just wish I could print them out of my head the way I saw them, because yeah, that was really beautiful. So I have to journal about them. Maybe this will inspire me to, you know, create them one day and figure out how I can make that a reality. And then here on this page, I am talking myself out of buying anything from the Hobonichi spring release. If you've seen, they came out with the Tragen cover. Look at that. I just said it with the American accent, even though I'm German and that's a German word and I know how to pronounce it. Tragen, which means to carry in German. They came out with a new colorway for that in the oak moss, and this is one of my favorite colors. So I think I purely want it because it's that color. And because I think that nylon fabric that they use for it seems so nice to touch. It seems so soft, and I like when covers have flexibility to it. And at first I was like, yeah, I can use that for my sketchbook, and then I can have like all my essential sketching pens and erasers in there because it has this sort of zip flap thing. So it's a built-in pencil case. But then I was like, I don't really take my sketchbook out of the house all that often. So when I do, I'm not really inconvenienced by the fact that I just grab the pencil case I already have. And I think more often I would be inconvenienced that now the pencil case is permanently attached to the book. So if you have your sketchbook laying open, so basically the flap with the pencil case would be right here, and you can't move it. So yeah, I think I need to restrain myself and not buy it just because I like the color. That just, no. And then they're also releasing this wonderful commemorative tin with some stickers in there and some other stationery items. It's beautifully designed and it's very joyful. It looks very toy-like. So obviously I'm very much drawn to anything that looks like a toy. But I think it's only available on their Hobonichi Japanese website, the Japan store, online store. And so I would have to pay shipping for that. And I mean, it is, I don't know. Just for me, I mean, it comes down to, is a metal tin worth, I think the box itself costs $35, and then you would probably pay another $40 for shipping, so $70. I mean, I understand that there's also stickers and stuff in there, but the main reason I would be buying it is for the metal tin, and so I don't think I'm gonna spend $70 on a metal tin. But I understand the appeal, and it's probably gonna be a very popular item. And then here we have the last day, because this is today, so I obviously haven't filled that out yet. But this is a reflection on iPods. I've been making a few cats listening to music for the newest Kollashi collection, and I have found that that really has inspired me to do a lot of writing about music, what I'm currently listening to, and also reflecting on, yeah, that I used to love my iPod. I spoke about that in the collection overview video, but that used to be one of my favorite items to own. I would always listen to music when I was biking, when I was commuting, when I was taking our dog on a walk. And so I would always be really bummed if I forgot to bring it or if it was out of battery. And I think I kind of missed that. Yeah, it was really a comfort item. And I should still own one of these. Last time I checked at my parents' house, I couldn't find it. But I also know that I'm not the person who would discard of something like that. So I don't know. I'll have to figure out where that went. Because obviously I would rather use my old one than having to buy something new or refurbished. And they're not cheap either. So, but yeah, love my iPad. Not iPad. Well, I do love that too, but my iPod. So yeah, that's for the daily pages. I already started my February overview page, or, well, I'll probably, I'm gonna look for a poem because I quite liked that for January. I really like that brown color that they chose for the February pages. I feel like both January and December had this red color, and so I'm excited for a different color. And then maybe I can share with you, I was able to fill in 2 books. Woohoo, I read 2 books in January. So yeah, we have that going on. And then I did start to keep like a list of what's up next here on this little sheet. So I'm gonna just keep rotating these, and hopefully that'll create sort of like a system where I can see, oh yeah, these books I want to read next, and I can get a little bit more into a groove of not having bigger gaps between reading. And I don't know if you're interested in that. That is going a little bit away from the journaling part, but this is actually the stack of books that I want to read up next. This is actually a reread, a Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. They are a fantastic writer. This is a pretty slim book, but it's quite impactful. The writing is beautiful. So I've read this before, but this recently came up in conversation. Somebody had asked for a recommendation for a book that is a little bit more wholesome and mellow. And so I recommended this, and so I wanted to reread that. Really wonderful. And then I love children's literature, and so I'm going through a couple classics that I have never read. So I'm going to go through Charlotte's Web. I'm really interested to see what I think about that. And then for nonfiction, I think I'm going to do these two next. This is also a reread. I've read this numerous times, and I actually mentioned one of the essays that is included in this book in the Journal With Me video about the watercolor. I shared this essay, Let's Write It in Red, from this book. But yeah, I want to reread this. So Philip Pullman is, of course, the author of his Dark Materials trilogy, and this is his book on stories and storytelling. So it's a bunch of essays, and he's just a fantastic writer. So his writing itself is amazing, but then also his thoughts on stories and storytellings are fantastic. So if you're into that kind of stuff, this is an amazing book. And then this is a little bit more how-to-y. So Save the Cat writes a young adult novel. I'm not necessarily writing on or working on a young adult novel, but just wanting to get better at understanding story structure. So I thought this was a good way to go. So yeah, really excited about this one. And I'm already started. Well, I mean, I'm on page 6, so. And yeah, this wonderful bookmark. These are dried flowers from my grandmother. And I think that layout is just so beautiful, the way she arranged these. So yeah, that's quite sweet. It's my favorite bookmark. But yeah, so I'm gonna read these and yeah, hopefully keep working on my journal. And then I do, of course, also have a couple other journals and notebooks. So maybe next week, for next video, I can give you a glimpse into how those are going. So far, everything is going just fine, and I don't regret any setups, or I didn't have to make any major overhauls. Of course, there is the inconsistency with the paper, and in that sense, I am upset at Sanzen, because it is really strange that even from page to page, certain things behave differently. So it's just very inconsistent, and so I don't think that's very professional. Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. But I decided to stick with it. I am trying to really hone in on being content, and yeah, so I think I'm gonna stick with this, even though some pages are better or worse than others. There's that. So yeah, well, I hope your journaling is going well, and that this video maybe gave you some ideas for things to include in your journals, or at the very least was enjoyable to watch and listen to. And as always, I love to chat with you about journals, journaling, what to include in journals, and those kinds of things. So yeah, feel free to leave a note in the comments about what was your favorite page in this flip through. And other than that, I hope you are well, and until next time, happy journaling!